the media space, in particular ESPN, is freaking out about Tom Brady. Not freaking out about Tom Brady's face that seems somehow keeps getting skinnier and skinnier and fewer wrinkles. They're not freaking out about how awful he is as the lead analyst for Fox NFL games. But they're freaking out because he was in the coaching box of the Raiders-Chargers game on Monday night, and he was looking and acting very much like a coach of the Raiders. So media is freaking out. But for some reason, at least not yet, NFL owners are not freaking out, and that's a story by itself. So you don't know the backdrop of this. It's pretty interesting. You can have a variety of opinions on this. This is Yahoo Sports. Tom Brady appears to have a much bigger role with the Las Vegas Raiders than previously thought. The future Hall of Famer was spotted in the coach's box at Allegiant Stadium on Monday night. They lost 20-9 to the Chargers. While it's unclear how involved he was, Brady did have a headset on and a tablet in front of him, like the rest of the team's coaching staff seated around him. Brady, according to ESPN's Peter Schrager, meets with Raiders offensive coordinator Chip Kelly multiple times a week throughout the season. Okay. Now you would say, well, gosh, why not? Tom Brady seems to know football. Why not use him? Here's the issue. And there's a few. And then I'm going to take it to a direction you probably didn't anticipate. He's the lead analyst with Fox. He calls games across the league, right? That makes Kelly's reported revelation that he talks to Brady multiple times a week and goes through film and game plans with him significant. Because of his status as a franchise owner, Brady has to adhere to several restrictions that other broadcasters don't have, including not being able to attend practices at team facilities. Blah, blah, blah. The league stepped in and said, we don't need to do that for Tom. Just let him show up. So he's showing up. Tom Brady is scheduled to call the Cowboys game with the Bears on Sunday at Soldier Field in Chicago. Oh, boy. The following week, the Bears play the Raiders in Vegas. Okay, so the issues circling around him are quite a few. One of them no one's talking about, which I think is a big deal. He doesn't care, or he doesn't seem to care. Let's put it that way. He seems pretty oblivious. In addition to the controversy about his role as the part owner of the Raiders and the lead analyst for Fox, he's been outed for working with the coaching staff. We can also add that he's being paid by the Saudi Sports Investment Fund to be the quarterback of a flag football game involving famous NFL players. In other words, Tom Brady joins a long list of politicians and celebrities who have willingly agreed to participate in the Saudi sport washing effort. If you know what sport washing is, Google it. It goes back a long, long time. And by the way, the sport washing by the Saudis seems to be working. I think there's more to this Saudi deal than the usual strategy of throwing money at famous people to say good things about Saudi Arabia and the ruling family. I think there's more to it. In fact, I'm going to go tinfoil hat on you. I don't think I'm far off, though. I'm going to trash the morally corrupt arrangement. Okay, dealing with the Saudis, and I don't like to preach, but this one's not a tough one. It's morally corrupt. Without condemning them, it's morally corrupt. But you can decide on the Brady issues that are front and center right now. Okay, so the issue that you can decide. Okay, here's what's in front of you. You can condemn him or say, who cares? Do the Raiders have an unfair advantage or a potential advantage for Tom Brady to meet with teams and coaches, and then the Raiders, the team he owns, and he hangs out, and he apparently hangs out with the coaches there too, then the Raiders play one of those teams shortly after. In the case of the Bears, the week after he does a Cowboys-Bears game, they play them the next week. So is that unfair for Tom Brady to be talking with the Bears and then turn around and go sit in the coach's box? The concern, of course, is that Brady would get info to the Raiders since he's an owner and apparently consults with the coaches regularly. There you go. Part 2 of this thing is the conflict of interest. And this is what has a lot of people in the media space flipping out, because those in the media business, the opinion media business, want to be perceived as impartial. You can laugh it off all you want, but they would prefer to be perceived as impartial. I think that's fair, because Brady is supposed to be an objective analyst. To a lot of people in the media space, this is a bad look on them. It's kind of a sellout look. Brady is supposed to be providing insight and unfiltered opinions. Can you trust that he's doing that if he's part of a team and he works so closely with the team? Okay? Those are the issues. I don't think they're unreasonable. I think it's fair criticism. I don't think he cares, and I have a few thoughts why he doesn't care. But the other issue would be why, if you owned another team, would you be bothered by this? If you were the Bears, would you say, wait a second, man, we were just talking to Tom and his plastic face? His face is getting thinner and thinner. But we talked to Tom, and now he's sitting in the coach's box with the Raiders. Here goes Stephen A. Smith going against the grain for ESPN, because most of them have been pretty opinionated about Brady doing this.
I'll take it from here. I understand exactly what Swagoo is saying. Listen, what I would say to you in response to that, Swagoo, is that to me, as the minority owner for the Las Vegas Raiders, he has a right to do whatever he wants to do.
With the Raiders.
With the Raiders.
Absolutely.
Right? Then it's Fox's responsibility to decide whether or not it's in their best interest, and it's the NFL's responsibility to understand whether or not it's in their best interest to have him as a commentator, thereby allowing him the access that he has to opposing teams.
Absolutely.
And the information that he ultimately can take back to the Raiders. The point that I'm making is I don't have an issue with what Tom Brady is doing, because as a minority owner for the Las Vegas Raiders, he's free to do what he wants to do. And why should he turn down $37.5 million a year to call games?
Absolutely.
I ain't mad at him at all. But if you're the National Football League or you are Fox, then you have a decision to make as it pertains to that. I get what your point is. I'm just saying, let's not act like Tom Brady is doing anything wrong. Maybe it's the NFL, maybe it's Fox, but it ain't Tom Brady that's doing anything wrong.
All right, that's
because
enough.
any of us, I know.
I will take over from here, because I can say a lot that is wrong, including the most morally corrupt act of all. So those are your issues, okay? Take those and run with them any way you would like. I think it's an interesting argument. I think it's interesting other owners don't care, but they don't care. Tom Brady doesn't care at all. I'd like to introduce a third issue that is not talked about very often. And that is this. He sucks at his job. He's awful. He's awful at his job. He's guaranteed $37 million a year for 10 years, and he sucks at the job. I would say he sucks at that job if he were getting paid $75,000 a year. But Jeff, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that he sucks at his job? Are you jealous? Well, yes, I would like to make. Would you give me $37 million? I'll bet you I don't suck at my job. But why am I saying this? Let me back this up by my own opinions that I'll happily fight with anybody about. He is predictable. I don't think good media is predictable. If you think good media is predictable, I think that's a you problem. You'd like to tune in and say, I wonder what he's going to say. He's predictable. He's completely thoughtless. He's redundant to the point of it being nauseating. For example, he said adversity, a term I hate. I hate that term. It's lame. He said adversity 5 times in 3 minutes to start the game. Like, what kind of adversity? Like a grenade in the middle of the field? What are you talking about? He's redundant, and the constant cliched coach speak is mind-numbing. He offers no entertainment value nor any insight. Let me tell you what I think hearing Tom Brady, who's the greatest player of all time and might be a pretty nice guy and a good dad, even though his face is getting smaller. Okay? Here's what I think Tom Brady is. This is what I hear when I hear him do a game. It's like your 10th grade coach was given a headset, Botox, veneers, lip fillers, and a microphone to talk about the Giants and the Cowboys. That's what I hear. I hear 10th grade football coach. It's dumb. He's just a 10th grade football coach with a fixed face. The argument about sharing information, it does make some sense. You know, like, man, we were just talking to Tom about what we're going to do in the game, but yet he's in the coach's box now for the Raiders. It does make some sense. And I got to be honest, I'm surprised owners aren't concerned that he's passing on intel. I get that. But I think the comeback to that is this, that there is so much data gathered. There's so much studying. There's not a whole lot out there in the NFL that teams and organizations don't know about. Teams are required to share any and all injury information. Okay, required. So I'm not sure there's much teams didn't already know unless, you know, like some coach for some stupid reason. I don't think Tom Brady, I don't know what kind of homework he does. It doesn't matter. Whatever homework he has, he ruins it by being a cliched, filled, redundant doofus. But I guess if a coach told him about some trick play, hey, Tom, we're going to do the old double reverse, blah, blah, blah. And then Tom would tell the Raiders guys, I mean, I guess that could be an issue. But I'm not sure why a coach would tell him that. I don't think they're that dumb. Unless an owner cares, this is not going to be an issue. Now, if an owner cares, because the entire sport is run by the owners, if an owner cares, then I think we've got an issue. I do. And I wouldn't blame one of them for saying, come on, man, this is weird. And I agree with Stephen A. Smith. Why doesn't, I mean, I've already used the argument. If I were Fox, I would have used this against him to get out of the contract. And I would secretly say, Tom, the real issue is you suck at this job. We were wrong. You got great lips and a face and there's never any wrinkles in your head. Never. But man, you suck at this job and we got to move on. That's what I would say. You know what else he should know? And this is kind of amazing to me. And I compared Tom Brady mindset to Michael Jordan. He should know this. And that is being a part of the Saudi sport washing machine is wrong. Okay? Brandon, prepare yourself. I'm probably going to say something about the current administration that's going to set somebody's hair on fire. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time because people get kind of whiny when I do that. But sport washing is wrong on every single level. It's wrong to not call it out. Okay? There are some rights and wrongs in the world that we can agree with, you know, slave labor, human rights, just stuff like that. Tom Brady's joined a long list of famous pawns, would be the term that I would use, to put a nice face on the Saudi regime. That's what sport washing is. The $1 trillion investment fund is partly about, and I'll be fair here, that some of what the Saudis have been doing and why they've been spending this money to get influencers the way they have is to diversify their economy. I mean, it's a legitimate issue, and they want to encourage tourism. That is part of it. And they're using a gatekeeper strategy, which is a public relations strategy, to have famous people sell the Saudi experience. Do business with us. We're nice people kind of thing. Look, Tom likes us, and look at his face. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, David Beckham, now Tom Brady are supposed to sell you on, these are nice people doing nice things. Come visit us and invest. That's what they're doing. The goal is to make it okay to do business with the Saudis. Here's the thing. Look, Tom Brady doesn't need the money. And I think any PR relationship with that regime is wrong. Okay? Now, they are making an effort to diversify their economy, and that's understandable. But the money comes from a regime that is a human rights dumpster fire. If you try to spin that, you're a jackass. You're a clueless jackass. Okay? It is the very thing in that country that this country, ours, I'll use past tense, used to be against. Okay, the Brady response, and this is where I think Tom Brady works really hard. He's like Michael Jordan. I think he has to fill space. Like, since he's been away from football, all he knows is hard work. So he's just going to do a lot of stuff. And I'm going to keep going. But he's tone deaf. He really is. I think that's sort of what Stephen A. Smith was talking about as Fox. I mean, all of you are tone deaf. He sucks at his job, and the Saudi deal's bad, and the look of being in the Raiders box is bad. The look is bad, and he doesn't seem to get it. But the issue with the Saudis, which is kind of funny that he's going to play famous flag football players, I've got a theory behind this. But what should be said, here's an argument I would make with any one of you that say, hey, what's the deal, Ward? They're just taking money. If you want to take the money and you want to sell the rest of the world, and in Brady's case, the United States, come on, everybody, come visit and invest. Everything's great here. Look, I'm here with my kids. That kind of thing. I think if you do that and you want to take the money, I think the moral thing to do is to also say, I'll work with you as long as you make measurable commitments to change, fill in the blank. Okay? I'll take your money. I'll sell everyone on how great it is here. I'll sell everyone how nice you are. But you got to do this, this, and this. And it should be stated publicly. Because here's what's disgusting is they buy your silence. You'll tweet, you'll smile, you'll hang out at the beach, you'll live tax-free and all that stuff, and then you won't condemn them because they're paying you not to condemn them. You know, kind of like how they hack up journalists and stuff. So you can fill in the blank whatever the issue is. Listen, I want you to change the Stone Age treatment of women. I want you to stop the horrific and indentured servitude of immigrants. I want you to stop the disdain for political free speech. Blah, blah, blah. What happens is famous rich people should be called out for this relationship and should be called out for not demanding something in return. We don't do that here anymore for our own moral problems. I just think if you want to take their money, you can't be silent. When you sell the silence, it's a bad look. Tom Brady is committing a bunch of bad looks, and he's tone deaf to it, and nobody is saying anything about it. They're buying positive spin with famous people. Okay? I fault Brady for that, but I also fault us to a large degree because we're pretty much a dumbed-down, celebrity-driven culture that's lost our moral compass, too. Okay. Now, let me take it further. I got a theory. Feel free to say, Jeff, you've gone tinfoil hat on us. Yeah, a little bit. Hear me out, though. So you haven't heard much about this Saudi flag football game thing or whatever. I can tell you where this is going. My own tinfoil hat. The Saudi-Brady arrangement, I think they're on their way. The Saudi investment fund, which is approaching $1 trillion, by the way. I think they are, bit by bit, buying NFL influence. I do. That's crazy, Jeff. That's crazy. Okay, well, let me finish then. I think the investment fund, and look, and this has been if you sort of read about the Saudi regime and the Saudi family, it's a bunch of Ivy League educated young MBAs who are now saying we've got to diversify our economy. Now, they're not saying stop with the human rights violations. They don't seem to give a flip because we don't seem to give a flip. But so they want to diversify their economy. And they've learned one of the ways to do that is influence in the Premier League, influence with famous soccer players, influence, with NFL players. Where's that going? The biggest moneymaker in all of sports with the biggest media rights deal in all of sports is the NFL. It is the biggest media platform there is. NFL owners like the valuations of NFL teams to go up. They've been going up dramatically, haven't they? Who better to drive up the franchise, the price of the franchise? Who better to overpay for a franchise than somebody who has no concern about money. They want influence. NFL owners are morally bankrupt. That's not a big secret, right? Sort of like generations, just so you don't get your feelings hurt. Generations of presidential administrations, including the current one, are morally bankrupt in the relationship with the Saudis. Who has deeper pockets and willing to overspend than the Saudis? Now, am I saying they're using Tom Brady to do this? Yeah, a little, actually. Yeah, I think I've said before, there are a lot of rich people in the United States. We're running out of people, not named Bezos, who can afford a $12 billion NFL franchise. There's not that kind of money laying around. There's not many people around the world that would throw that kind of money, would throw 15 or 20 billion at an NFL franchise. What better way to get in here? Huh? I'll start. This is my tinfoil hat theory. I think this is the start of trying to win favor with idolizing football fans. You know how to win favor with owners. They have no compass. Drive up the value of what they own. You get there, and Tom Brady, then this guy, then this guy, and then that guy, and then you know what? I mean, we're not going to own all the franchise. We just want 25% of it. There are not many people that can throw around the money they'll throw around for an NFL franchise. I don't know how long that takes. I don't think it's immediate. But my tinfoil hat theory is that they've been looking for a way to inch their way into the NFL. It's the biggest prize in sports. It's the biggest media deal in sports. It is the most influential, outside the Premier League in England. It is the most influential league on the planet. Tom's for sale. Hey, here's a recommendation backed up by my own experience, a great experience. And that is, I've been a client of DJC Law, and I can tell you this. You're going to get three things with DJC Law. You'll notice it right away. The difference is you will get peace of mind. They will take care of every single detail perfectly, and you will get the result you deserve. If you're injured by the negligence of someone else, fighting with an insurance company for any reason, trust me when I tell you, you will need DJC Law. Dan Christensen and his team of attorneys have a remarkable track record. I've known Dan a long time. He's a military vet. He's board certified in civil trial law, and I've been a client. So you can trust them. You will get the result you deserve. Check out teamjustice.com, and you'll see thousands of five-star reviews. The bottom line is, if you're in an accident, you need DJC Law. Contact them right away. 512-888-9999.